Inclusion is one of those words that it's still about including other people to the table. And what we need to eventually get to is to a point where nobody's claiming ownership of that table and we all own it. And so that's the step beyond inclusion, and that's where we're headed.
I think that Accenture is making the right strides and is doing the good work that's necessary to be a leader in its industry, in professional services, but also be a leader in diversity and inclusion for its people. As you mentioned, there have been considerable challenges that I face at the intersection of my own identities and experiences, being Black, being trans and non-binary and queer. I think looking at the numbers, Accenture still has great work to do with all those respective groups. They have committed themselves to being a 50-50 gender equity workplace by 2020. Am I correct? And with that work, I think there's also some opportunity to look back and reflect and see how it could include people like me who don't identify within the binary of men and women, who are trans and who are trans femme, and creating an inclusive environment for all persons.
Trans and non-binary employees are protected outside the office, as in when we go to client offices, if we're in a client-facing role, we carry Accenture with us, and Accenture is behind us. If there are any issues with the client, basically the people who are in the hierarchy of the project will deal with that with the client. But they will deal with that because they have your back, not because they're trying to hide you.
I'm a member, I'm an executive board for the New York LGBT Employee Resource Group. There are also a number of, there are several other groups nationally and also locally in different offices. We're speaking particularly about the U.S. region. So if you're watching internationally for a different country, you have to check with the local governments and also local resources there. But particularly for the U.S. region, there are a number of employee resource groups.
Yeah, and within our LGBT employee resource group, we have a specific gender authenticity team that is focused to issues of gender identity and gender authenticity in the workplace. And so that includes both trans and non-binary, butch, all of the above. And so we really want to make sure that even as we're client-facing and all that, we are still very solid as far as getting the best people, and that includes the best gender diverse people.